Hey everyone, this is Stella, and after 15 years serving passengers at 35,000 feet, I've decided to stop just serving drinks and start spilling the industry secrets that airlines desperately hope you never discover. Today, we're diving into a topic that affects the most polite, yet often underserved group of travelers, passengers over 60. And let me tell you right now, this isn't clickbait or exaggeration. This is critical information that could literally save your health, your money, and your dignity on your next flight. You might be thinking, Stella, I've been flying since before you were born. I know how to buckle a seatbelt and sit quietly. What secret wisdom could possibly change my well-established routine? And I would say you're absolutely right. You are seasoned, experienced travelers. But what if I told you that the entire air travel system, from those massive sprawling airports to the cramped high-altitude cabins, is often subtly designed against your comfort, safety, and ease? What if I told you there are federal policies and little-known accommodations that airlines are legally required to offer but rarely advertise, specifically designed to make your journey safer, easier, and more dignified? You see, many senior travelers are the most courteous passengers we have. They don't want to bother the crew. They don't want to seem needy or demanding. They board the plane quietly, sit down without complaint, and endure those small physical discomforts: the stiff neck, the dry throat, the long, painful walk to the restroom, believing it's all just part of the modern flying experience. But by being too polite and not asking for help, you are actively forfeiting opportunities for comfort, time savings, and stress reduction. You are navigating an inherently stressful system with one hand tied behind your back. Last month at Chicago O'Hare International Airport, Mrs. Helen Richardson, age 72, a retired school principal flying to Seattle for her grandson's college graduation, walked nearly 2 miles through that massive terminal, stood in security lines for 35 minutes, struggled to lift her carry-on into the overhead bin, and spent the entire 5-hour flight dehydrated and uncomfortable. She arrived in Seattle exhausted. Her legs were swollen, her back was aching, and she could barely enjoy the graduation ceremony she'd flown across the country to attend. And here's what breaks my heart. Every single problem Helen experienced was completely preventable if she had known about the 15 services and accommodations I'm about to reveal. I'm talking about critical physical, logistical, and policy information that nobody, not the booking website, not the gate agent, and certainly not the automated check-in kiosk, bothers to proactively tell you. Today, I'm revealing 15 critical tips across 3 categories: essential physical and wellness preparation, airport navigation hacks, and in-flight comfort secrets. This isn't just theory. This is real-world knowledge from the person who will personally hand you that extra blanket and walk you through these exact strategies. The first category is essential physical and wellness preparation, because your body reacts completely differently to the high-altitude, low-humidity environment of an airplane cabin. Preparation isn't just about packing a suitcase. It's about preparing your physical well-being for survival at 35,000 feet. The first critical tip is understanding the dehydration danger and exactly how to beat it. The air in a cabin is drier than the Sahara Desert. We're talking about 10 to 20% humidity compared to normal indoor humidity of 30 to 65%. For older passengers, this extreme low humidity accelerates dehydration, which thickens your blood and dramatically increases the risk of deep vein thrombosis, blood clots that can be fatal. 2 weeks ago on my flight from Dallas to Honolulu, Mr. Vincent Torres, age 74, sat in his window seat for 4 straight hours. He didn't want to bother the passengers next to him by asking to get up. He didn't drink water because he didn't want to use the bathroom. The plane landed and he stood up to deplane. He immediately felt dizzy and fainted, collapsing in the aisle. We called for medical assistance. Paramedics met the plane. He was diagnosed with severe dehydration and a possible blood clot forming. He spent 3 days in a Honolulu hospital instead of enjoying his vacation with his daughter. The secret is your water intake must be proactive, and you need to double your usual daily amount. Airlines are legally required to provide water upon request, even outside of beverage service. Do not wait for the drink cart. Hit that call button and ask for water every 60 to 90 minutes. Better yet, bring an empty reusable bottle through security and ask us to fill it completely. once we reach cruising altitude. This is a safety issue, not an inconvenience to us. The second tip is compression socks are absolutely non-negotiable, even for short flights. You might think compression socks are only for international travel, or people with existing circulation issues. Completely wrong. Cabin pressure and sitting motionless for hours increases the risk of blood pooling in legs for everyone, but particularly for older adults, whose circulation is naturally slower. I wear proper graduated compression socks on every single flight I work, and I'm a healthy 30-something. Look for 15 to 20 millimeters of mercury rating, put them on before you leave for the airport, and keep them on until you land. This is the simplest, cheapest way to reduce swelling and significantly reduce DVT risk. Last month, a 68-year-old passenger showed me her ankles after a 3-hour flight without compression socks. They were swollen to twice their normal size. She could barely walk through the terminal. The third tip is the medication disaster prevention rule. Always carry medications in your carry-on, never in checked baggage. I have witnessed countless bags delayed or lost with crucial medications inside. This is a common and completely preventable travel disaster. 3 weeks ago at Miami International Airport, Mrs. Dorothy Hamilton, age 70, checked her bag containing all her blood pressure medications, heart medications, and diabetes supplies. Her bag got routed to Atlanta by mistake. She arrived in Orlando for her daughter's wedding without any of her critical medications. She spent the entire rehearsal dinner trying to find an emergency room that could write temporary prescriptions. She missed the rehearsal, showed up to the wedding exhausted and stressed. The entire celebration was tainted by medication panic. TSA and airlines cannot legally confiscate medically necessary liquids or supplies, even if they exceed the 311 limits. Furthermore, keep a detailed list of your medications and dosages in your wallet. If you have a medical emergency mid-flight, you may not be able to communicate clearly. The medication list speaks for you and helps medical personnel treat you properly. The fourth tip is the bathroom strategy requiring aisle seat priority. If you know you'll need to get up frequently for circulation, which you absolutely should, do not allow yourself to be politely talked into a middle or window seat. When you book your ticket, prioritize an aisle seat near the galley or restroom. If you're already booked in a middle seat, approach the gate agent before boarding begins and politely state, "I have a medical need to get up frequently during the flight." Most of the time, they will move you to an available aisle seat in economy for free. It's easier for them to manage a comfortable passenger than deal with a distressed one having a medical emergency mid-flight. The fifth tip is mandatory mid-flight movement, using the galley walk protocol. Once the seatbelt sign turns off, you should be moving your body. The advice to walk around sounds vague. So here's exactly what to do. Every hour, stand up at your seat and do 10 heel raises and 10 ankle rotations, clockwise and counterclockwise. If you feel steady, take a short walk to the rear galley. Don't just stand there awkwardly. Ask a flight attendant if you can hold on to the counter while you do gentle stretches. We are genuinely happy to supervise and will keep an eye on you to ensure your safety. The second category is airport navigation hacks that give you VIP treatment. The airport is honestly the most stressful part of any journey. The noise, the endless walking, the rushing crowds. It's exhausting even for young, healthy crew members. These hacks eliminate hassle and put you first in line. The sixth tip is free wheelchair and escort assistance, which is the ultimate time saver. This is the #1 most underutilized hack I see. You do not have to be disabled or unable to walk to request wheelchair assistance. If you have any difficulty walking long distances, standing in lines, or maneuvering through massive hubs like Dallas or Atlanta, you are entitled to completely free wheelchair service from the curb through security and right to your boarding gate. Last week at Denver International Airport, Mr. Robert Chen, age 68, walked over a mile from check-in to his gate. By the time he arrived, he was sweating profusely. His knees were throbbing. He could barely stand to board. He had no idea he could have requested free wheelchair service that would have transported him door to gate in 10 minutes. When you're in a wheelchair, you get whisked through a dedicated faster security line and receive automatic priority boarding. You essentially get VIP pass through airport chaos. Make this request when you book your ticket or call the airline at least 48 hours in advance. This is federally mandated service they cannot refuse. The seventh tip is TSA Cares support for smoother security screening. The TSA process can be genuinely confusing and intimidating, especially with complex new machines and impatient crowds. The TSA Cares program is specifically designed for travelers with disabilities, medical conditions, or those needing extra time, which includes many senior travelers. If you call them at 855-787-2227 at least 72 hours before your flight, they can arrange for a passenger support specialist to meet you at the security checkpoint. This specially trained TSA agent guides you through the entire process, answers questions, and ensures screening is done respectfully and efficiently. This is free human assistance in a highly mechanized, stressful process. The 8th tip is priority boarding is your legal right. Not a favor, most people know families with small children board first, but many senior travelers are also entitled to board before the main rush begins. If you have mobility concerns, even minor ones like trouble lifting bags or walking narrow aisles, ask the gate agent for pre-boarding. 2 weeks ago at Phoenix Sky Harbor, Mr. and Mrs. Thomas Sullivan, both age 74, didn't know to ask for pre-boarding. They boarded with their regular group. By the time they reached their seats overhead, bins were completely full. They had to gate check their carry-ons containing medications. They waited 40 minutes at baggage claim. This entire stress was preventable by simply asking for pre-boarding, which gives you stress-free time to settle, stow your carry-on without pressure, and ensure your mobility aids are securely stored. The 9th tip is gate-to-gate transfer assistance, eliminating connection panic. If you have a tight connection and pre-booked wheelchair service, the airline must provide assistance not just to your arrival gate, but from your arrival gate to your connecting gate. They cannot leave you stranded between flights. If your first flight is delayed, the wheelchair assistance team will often expedite you through the terminal, sometimes bypassing long pedestrian routes entirely. This must be arranged beforehand, but it's free service that eliminates the #1 cause of travel panic, which is missing connections. The 10th tip is free storage for mobility aids, including canes, walkers, and crutches. This is a specific, often overlooked federal policy. Your foldable walker, cane, or crutches do not count against your carry-on allowance. They are considered assistive devices and travel completely free. Furthermore, you can ask the flight attendant to store them in the front closet, usually reserved for first class. Last month, I had a gentleman named Mr. Henderson struggling to stand up after the seatbelt sign went off. His cane was jammed in the overhead bin 3 rows back, and he was too polite to ask me to retrieve it. I got it for him, stored it in the forward closet, and told him, "Next time, tell the gate agent, and tell me, this is your personal medical equipment. It belongs up front where you can access it. We are happy to help you, just need to ask." The 3rd category is in-flight comfort and dignity secrets. Once that cabin door closes, your flight attendants are your primary resource for comfort and safety. Don't hesitate to ask for things that improve your experience. The 11th tip is requesting help with carry-on luggage. Because we are the labor force, the official airline policy states passengers must be able to lift their own bags. But the reality is, if you're a senior passenger and you politely ask, flight attendants are genuinely happy to assist you with lifting your carry-on into the overhead bin or pulling it down upon arrival. Don't wait until you're struggling and straining your back, trying to prove you can do it alone. Walk up to your seat, make eye contact with a flight attendant, and say, "Excuse me, could I please ask for your assistance putting this bag up? Thank you." A polite, specific request almost always gets immediate assistance. Don't exhaust yourself complying with a policy that has built-in flexibility for seniors. The 12th tip is the comfort kit request for pillows, blankets, and amenities. On long international flights, amenity kits are standard, but on many domestic flights over 3 hours, we carry limited stock of basic comfort items, spare blankets, small pillows, sometimes eye shades or earplugs, which are often reserved for premium cabins or special requests. If you're a senior passenger who looks tired or uncomfortable, ask us directly for a blanket and pillow. We may not have enough for everyone, but we will prioritize passengers who are polite and genuinely need comfort. It's a free upgrade to your travel experience, and those items are sealed in plastic in the back galley waiting to be requested. The 13th tip is medical seating exceptions allowing free seat swaps. If you're seated far from the lavatory and realize it will be true physical hardship to make frequent trips, you can politely ask the flight attendant to move you to a closer, more convenient seat. If there are extra legroom seats or seats closer to lavatories available in main cabin, and you express genuine comfort or mild medical need, we will typically try to move you, especially after the main boarding door closes. We do this proactively to prevent potential medical problems later. Since you didn't pay extra for that seat, it's a free comfort upgrade provided space is available. The 14th tip is assistance with seating mechanisms, so you stop fumbling with stuck mechanisms. Have you ever struggled to find the recline button or discovered your tray table is completely stuck? Older aircraft seats can be genuinely tricky, and manipulating stubborn armrest latches can be difficult for arthritic hands and wrists. Don't struggle silently in frustration. Press the call button and say, "Excuse me, would you mind helping me adjust my seat? The lever seems stuck." It takes us literally 2 seconds. We know the exact trick to unlock every seat type on every aircraft. Doing it for you prevents strain and potential injury. This is easy free service that comes down to accessibility and basic courtesy. The 15th and final tip is deplaning and transfer assistance under the Air Carrier Access Act mandate. Just as you get to board early, you can also deplane late without rush. If you need extra time to gather belongings or stand up carefully, politely tell a flight attendant during descent. We will let the main rush of impatient passengers leave first. Then we can assist you with your items, allowing you to deplane at your own safe pace without being pushed or rushed. If you requested wheelchair assistance, your attendant will be waiting at the jet bridge. The airline service is federally mandated to escort you all the way to baggage claim and then to your waiting vehicle or transportation. They will even help you retrieve checked luggage. It's comprehensive door-to-door free service, removing the last layer of stress from your journey. And there you have it. 15 critical pieces of information that passengers over 60 must know to ensure your next flight is safe, comfortable, and dignified. This isn't about being demanding or entitled. It's about being an informed traveler and politely asking for services. The airline is either legally required or perfectly capable of providing. Remember the 3 keys to success. Be polite in your requests, be specific about your needs, and ask early before problems develop. If you've been flying for decades and never heard about some of these benefits, or if you know a senior traveler who desperately needs this information, please share this video with them immediately. If this information opened your eyes to services you never knew existed, hit that like button right now, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you don't miss next week's video about the 10 medications TSA is now confiscating from seniors at security checkpoints. Share this with your parents, grandparents, any senior traveler who deserves comfortable, dignified air travel. Thank you so much for flying with me today. Safe travels, everyone. This is Stella.